So let's see if they can hear. And we're trying to start a webinar. It's our first time to try and start a webinar. And I seem to be the only person online. I have two partners who are attempting to join me here. So if you're watching this and can help, I'd like to hear from you as to what exactly I could do. Obviously, you don't know the first thing about what I'm supposed to do there. But so far, it works for me, and then the administrator, and it seems to be working very well, but no one else seems to be getting on. So do I have to do anything to invite others? Chat, screen share, screen share, that would be something that might work for us. Maybe capture an image. Use control room, learn more how to moderate. So maybe I need to do that. Cameraman. Here. I don't think I want to do that. It's taking too long. I'm going back in here. File guest up and down off. Eject any actors. Okay, I don't want to do that. I haven't got any actors yet. Google Effects. I don't want to do that. Go to YouTube. That might be handy again. Log in somewhere and do something. And what's this? Google Drive. Don't want to do that. So I just want to be able to adjust my microphone, speakers. Maybe this is guests here. Is that what that could be? Yeah. Anyway, I'm live. I've still got 0 viewers, which is wonderful. I'm glad about that. Control room. That's where I am. I don't think I can do anything about that. What's up here? Microphones. Invite people. How many I have to invite? Okay, Ward. There's a Kathy Ward. What's your? Create 5. Okay. Invite somebody else. Accents. I don't know if this matters, but I suppose it does. So I'll go back here and find.
I'm sorry, what link is between the webinar?
No, I was saying. This is public webinar. Register general. I've got to go in here and open this up and do an edit of it, find the information. So, verification. Anyway. Shall we go? Here it is. Is that it? Must be. I don't know where I've lost it. Seems to have lost the. I'll cut that out. There it is. Okay. So, Shenba. Good. All right. Well, I've now invited all the people, and something is happening up here. I see you've got a little flash coming up on this guest. All right, well, I think we're getting some movement in terms of.
Plug in first.
All right. It's really time delay, isn't it? It's very bad. When the hand goes up, comes away. Stays there. Well, I don't suppose Shelley is ready for this.
No.
Okay.
Good.
All right, so we've got 2 people on the webinar, and that looks like it's it for the time being. So this is our webinar, and it's the first of our webinars on how to optimize your mobile website and how to optimize your design and the marketing of a mobile website. And mobile is becoming a major player in the travel arena. Expedia now is talking about having 20% of their total bookings online coming from a mobile device. And Focusrite has forecast that it's going to be 20% next year for everybody across the board. Facebook has 60% of its audience is now looking at the site on a mobile device. And even in our own case, in Barbados.org, we've seen a huge rise in the number of people coming to the site with mobile, and particularly tablets. It's about 40% overall right now. So that's the reason that we wrote the report, and Kathy have spent so much time in preparing a checklist of all the things that you should be considering when you're looking at your presence in mobile. So the first item on there, if I can share it, would be nice. I'm going to try and do that. I'm going to some sort of a thing here. I'm going to capture screen share. So I want to share with you the report just so you get a feel for it. This is the back end of the report. And here are the points that we went through. So today we want to look at the first one, and then we'll do periodic hangouts or webinars to discuss each one of the points, and are going to invite our clients and other people who are working with us, and it's going to be open to anybody in the public to join in and ask questions and find out and share their experience with mobile. So first of all, use measurement tools, and that's an idea that Kathy is very familiar with, being an ace in the Google Analytics, and she will tell you more about it. So how do we do, Kathy?
Is there some way you can hand over to me? Or
yeah, okay, so I'll hand it over to Kathy.
How did you do that? You just
I just clicked you. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things I want to be able to do now is to share my screen. So let's see how we do that.
I clicked on this this icon here. So.
Right.
All right.
So one of the first things you want to do is have a look at how much mobile traffic you're actually getting to your website. And Google Analytics is a great tool for doing that. So once you log into your analytics, you'll have a look on the audience, mobile, overview. And let's have a look for last month and see what the traffic looked like. So you can see desktop traffic, 55%. So you're sort of seeing those numbers now. And the mobile and tablet traffic, therefore, made up the other 45%. So you can see there's almost an even split already between desktop and mobile devices. And within the next couple of months, we're confident that mobile devices will overtake the desktop.
Yeah.
So let's have a look at, over the last 2 years or so, how far we've come. So we'll go back to 2012. And I only want to take a look at my mobile tablet traffic. I don't want to see all the visits. I just want to demonstrate what's been happening in the mobile arena. So we can use Google's Advanced Segments feature. That'll show us a graph, and we're going sort of merrily along here at over 4,000 visits. This is back in 2012. If we jump ahead to 2014, you can see we've almost doubled that now. So over this whole period, tablet traffic and mobile traffic is breaking down here for us.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? It's jumped, and you can see a big jump right there.
Yeah.
And it's sustained right through there with a couple of
and what you tend to notice is that these big jumps occur when a new version of an iOS product comes out.
Ah.
So when a new iPad comes out, when a new iPhone comes out, you tend to see these large jumps. You get a lot of people, especially around Christmas time. You see this peak I'm looking at right now. You see that's December 29th. That's coming up after Christmas.
Okay, yeah.
And actually, a recent survey was showing that if you want to release a new app, the two best times to release an app are just around Christmas time, just after Christmas, and during summer when people are on road trips.
Well, that's pretty good strategic information. If you're in the market and knowing that, you would be able to plan your product promotions and launches around those dates. The other thing that I think is, have you done any statistics on the difference between Apple, iOS, and
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Google Analytics, once again, is handy for that. So we can, again, let's just use the last month. Because things change so quickly in the mobile world that you want to make sure you're always dealing with the latest data. So we're going to take a look at the last month, and we're going to have a look at the devices that are being used. So this will give us several breakdowns, very interesting information. So this will give us the specific devices, which is the iPad, the iPhone, and then we're into the Samsung products. And of course, they have a wide variety of products as well, from different size tablets and also phones as well. So to get an overall view of what types of devices you would use the operating system. And this will give us a breakdown between iOS, which you can see is the vast majority, 72% in fact, followed by Android, or the BlackBerry is down here, and then the also-rans.
Yeah. But that's interesting that the iOS is the device that people are using to browse the web, and I've heard that report from quite a few number of different places, that Apple users seem to be the people that are browsing the web with their devices, whereas the other users may be using it for other things, such as connecting on Facebook, on social media.
Mail probably as well.
Mail and various types of applications and games and things.
The other thing you want to consider is your target markets as well. If you're targeting a market like the US, where there's high penetration of iOS, then you would expect to see these kinds of numbers. If your target market was somewhere like China, then you would expect to see a high number of Android devices. In the remaining areas where BlackBerry is strong, this number would be much higher, like South America and to some extent in the Caribbean.
Very good, yeah.
So it does reflect as well the audience that you're reaching. And of course, that's really important when you're planning your mobile strategy as well, particularly if you're thinking of doing apps.
Yes.
Okay, so just to give you a handle then on, just to confirm in your mind that people are visiting your site on mobile, to confirm some of the stats that are outlined in the report, you can see for yourself what's actually happening on your site. So once you've satisfied yourself that in fact you have a high percentage of mobile users, then you want to make sure that you're tailoring the experience to suit them.
Yeah. And then the other thing I think that I've noticed is that when you think about analytics, you think, well, you know, everyone knows the reason why you have analytics, but there are a lot of things that it reveals that you wouldn't think about. And it's not just a matter of looking at numbers, it's looking at what pages are working, which pages are not working, you know, where people are entering, like what is a landing page, And that's really important because sometimes you get surprises, and sometimes you think that your landing page is X, when in fact it's in one case that I know of, that I was personally involved in, the landing page turned out to be a page which was a second thought page. We never really had any intention of that being a major page, but it became a major page. And when we looked at it, there was a lot of really interesting and different content on that page. And that's the reason that it became a big page. But that can change your whole strategy in terms of what you're doing on the net and where you're promoting, what pages you're promoting. And then you will notice occasionally that some pages are people are not staying on at all. They have a very high bounce rate, and they may be very important pages. They're pages that a lot of people are going to, but they're not staying there. So then you have to think, what is it that's wrong with that page, and how do we optimize that page, and how do we make it more interesting, or alternatively combine it with another page. Have you got any statistics that show that kind of thing? Well,
would that be specific for mobile or?
No, it's not specific. It's not specific to mobile, but it's specific to what pages on the mobile people are looking at and where where they're going. So it's I mean, analytics is useful across the board, both mobile and desktop.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, the typical way you would have a look at your landing pages would look at something like your behavior, looking at your site content and looking at your landing pages, and this will show you. You would expect that your home page is generally a high landing page at the top of the pages, in this instance, a weather page and a calendar page. What you can actually do in analytics is use their advanced segments. So this is showing us statistics. And then have a look at our desktop. Sure.
Yeah, so that would be interesting to see. How that differs.
Just take a all visits. Let's do that. Okay, so as a percentage of all visits, it's about 14% of all visits are on the home page, landing page. In terms of our mobile traffic, that's slightly higher. So that may indicate to you that your home page is ranking better on a mobile search as opposed to a desktop search. So more people have the opportunity to come into the home page.
I wonder why that would be.
Well, remember that Google can mix up its algorithm depending on what kind of device that you're using. So the search results that you'll see on your desktop may be very different to the search results you see on your mobile device. Yeah, particularly if you are an Android user where you're going to have an account associated with your searches, then that account is going to be, searches going to be tailored for that account, whereas on desktop you may or may not be logged in. So you're going to get different results as well. So.
Yeah, and then again, you're dealing with a different population, and that population is varied further by the fact that some websites are mobile friendly and others are not. So if you're a mobile friendly site, you'll see a disproportionate amount of visits to that site. Okay.
So the advanced segments, a feature of Google Analytics, really allows you to compare how your different segments are using your website. And in this instance, we're comparing mobile users and desktop users, but you actually can create all sorts of advanced segments, returning users, visitors that actually complete a conversion or a transaction on your website. You can define your own segments as well. So it's very powerful information.
Very good. Well, I'm seeing that we have 1,000 people viewing us, so it's wonderful. And we're just learning, so we'll get better and expect to have 10,000 on the next webinar.
So one of the other things you want to consider when you're thinking about your digital analytics strategy for mobile is what are the primary calls to action that you have on your website. And remember that they will vary depending on what device people are using. So as a simple example, let's have a look at the contact page on this wonderful site for Premier Attractions. So we're looking at the site right now on our desktop. And we have several options on the contact page as to how we can contact this client. So since we're on our desktop, we probably most likely action we're going to take is actually to send an email. So what we can do with Google Analytics is actually trigger an event when this email link is clicked. So we will know that this particular user clicked on this email link. If, however, I was using my handy phone or my mobile, then I'd probably place a phone call instead. That we want to primary calls action for a mobile user. And again, you can use Google Analytics to trigger an event that will record that click or call. And then you want to have a look at your analytics and make sure that your mobile users are triggering those types of events. If not, then you probably need to redesign the page, make this link more prominent for mobile users. Because you do expect that you will get more clicks or more events through telephone link for mobile users. So that's a simple example of the way a given visitor would use different parts of your website depending on what device you're using. Another example might be click-through rates on ads on your website. So you can have a look at the bargains.org website. Again, if you're accessing it on the desktop, you see this lovely banner here, which you can click on, of course, and visit Crane, which is a fantastic resort. If, however, I was looking at this on my phone, I wouldn't have that lovely banner. Instead, I would have a text. There's that delay.
Yeah.
And so what I would do is I would measure clicks on this ad versus clicks on this ad, and make sure that my click-through rate is at least pretty much the same on mobile and on desktop. If I find that the click-through rate on desktop is much, much higher than the click-through rate on mobile, then I know I need to do something with this ad spot. I need to make it more attractive, I need to change the color, I need to find another way of drawing attention to it.
And what have you found so far? Are those text links working as well? It's room for improvement, possibly. Well, that would be interesting to actually.
Absolutely.
Can you study
strategy? That's a strategy that you would employ in your digital analytics.
Yeah, but is that like very difficult to do, or is it?
It's not very difficult to do.
It just takes time.
Just takes a little time to do.
Yeah.
And again, you really have to start with a really clear understanding of what are your major calls to action. What do you want people to be doing? And so when you're planning a digital measurement strategy, you need to start really at the very top, and as far back as possible, and be able to articulate a general view first of all, and then break it down to the specifics.
All right.
And use analytics accordingly.
So we'll be doing, looking at responsive web design and looking at the design elements in there and why you would choose to use text or what kind of alternatives you have. And that'll be another webinar.
Yeah. So those are the major points with respect to analytics. Make sure that you have a handle on how many people are actually using your website on mobile devices versus desktop devices. Make sure you understand how to track those users through analytics. And make sure you have your calls to action clearly defined in your own mind and tracked on your website. And then keep a constant check on what's happening and make adjustments to your website accordingly.
Very good. Well, let's see if we can get this back here. I'm going to go back to me. And that's the first point, which is the use of metrics and tools, measurement tools. And the next webinar will be dealing with content for a mobile site. We'll touch on that very briefly, and we'll go back into much more depth with that. So I hope this gives you an idea of what we're doing here. We have a checklist that really is points. It doesn't go into all the detail that we are able to go into on a webinar or discussion. And if you're joining us, we'd love to hear your questions and be able to answer them at the same time. So we look forward to seeing you at the next webinar. We'll let you know as soon as we know ourselves when that'll be. Bye for now. Let me turn off now.